took that bottle like this, and she looked right at me and she said, "Oh, you want mayonnaise? I like a lot of mayonnaise." She shook it and she went. I put that on social media. How come y'all weren't complimenting that? You saw the head game was strong. My God, what more do you want me to do? Do you want a blowjob for ketchup? You want me to throw neck for ketchup? Is that what you want? It's the 4th of July. I mean, this is the time for barbecues. It's time to be outside. It's time to be around friends and family and go to Old Navy and buy $5 t-shirts. And that's the time of year that I hate. That is absolutely, this is when I shut down. This is when I do not need to be part of anything unless there's a barbecue, because if there is a barbecue, I miss you. If you're having a barbecue or you have a swimming pool, I miss you very much. And so I want to be invited to your home, really just so I can like fix a plate, go swimming, and then leave. Um, so if you are having something like that, you can send me a message. I would love to come visit you because I miss you so much this time of year. But the rest of the year, I don't miss you. 4th of July, I mean, come on. It's really, it is about, yes, eating, and it's supposed to be about celebrating the land of the free and the home of the brave. But I mean, are we really free and are we really brave, or are we really just broken down right around now and paying too much for gas and not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, which there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm absolutely sure. I don't know if it's a freight train coming at us or if it is hope, but I'm willing to gamble either way. I mean, um, election happening. We're talking about still COVID cases going up. It's stuff to be afraid of. It's stuff to not be afraid of. We really don't know which leg to stand on. So you walk into a room and you're like, do I need to put a mask on? Do I not need to put a mask on? Am I doing it for me? Are people shaming me? Am I on the airplane with the mask? Who knows? I just keep the mask wrapped around my wrist. I try to wear it as much as I can. Um, but sometimes you just are in a situation like this where, like, obviously I'm here hired to model. I'm a face model, if you did not know. And so I can't wear my mask. So I have to do this for my art. I have to take my mask off and risk my life in order to pay my rent. You might be in that same situation as well. And if you are, I send so much love to you, especially this time of year when everyone is out and running around and talking to one another and breathing on one another. Um, just stay vigilant, stay strong, and model through it, as they say, because that's all we really can do at this time. Um, with being outside, I feel like, lately I've been driving around and it's like my temperature in the car will say that it's 74, but I can guarantee you it's 98 outside. Like, I don't need science, I don't need whatever temperature gauge in my car to tell me, or the one at the bank as you're driving along. I'm telling you right now it's 98 outside. I don't know where you are, it's 98. And whether you're inside or outside, not AC, you're boiling. And I just recently, because I still do obviously cabaret shows, that's what I do. And sometimes I do brunch shows. And so I just recently did two seatings at my normal place where I work at Hamburger Mary's. And I had to put on my makeup three different times because we had a 10:45 seating, a 1 o'clock seating, and then I had my night show. And the brows were just melting off. And that's why sometimes I will like block my brows out with glue and sometimes I'll just use my own. It just depends on my mood. Um, but the heat will really, really get to me and has been getting to me. It makes so, talk to me nice if you see me. Talk to me nice because I'm not feeling it and I'm not having it. The heat does, it just does, I feel like I don't normally sweat on the outside. I feel like I sweat on the inside, and that has to come out at some point. And thank God there's no more soup plantation, because if I was there, I'm telling you, I'd be sweating all over. And if you are very that, you know what I'm talking about. It will just come out. You know what I mean? Like soft serve. And I think that happens to you too. I think you feel my pain. You understand. Um, because as models we don't like to show like when we're uncomfortable, so we have to sweat on the inside, and I think you know what that's like. It's uncomfortable, but it is essentially, as they say, the way it is. That's just how it's going to be. That's just the way it is, so I says. So, while I do absolutely love going out to a restaurant, people have asked, what do you cook? What's the thing that you like to cook? And I always say, the best thing that I make for dinner is reservations because I like the idea of cooking. I think that's wonderful, and the idea of having the ingredients, but I'm that person that will, like, have in my mind what I have to buy, and then I'll go to the store and I'll forget one important thing, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess we're going out because I'm not gonna make that." Like, I'm not going back to the store. Do you know what I mean? So the meat's gonna rot and all that. But at this time of year, I do miss going to a family barbecue, but I have, like, it's not just so much having the barbecue, like, there's parameters for me. Like, I want to be there for the barbecue, but I wanna eat the barbecue inside. I don't wanna eat it outside where everybody else is because it's too hot and there's flies and there's all that shit going on. I don't wanna be around that. Although I know that's, like, sort of par for the course. That's, like, the fun is you're, like, roughing it. Like, "Oh, it's so like, we're cooking outside. Like, this time of year has finally come." And this time of year is when I start getting ready for Halloween. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the stores are already putting their Halloween out. I'm ready for that because I have the body that's built for, like, the fall and winter, like, it's built for hibernation. So but I do love barbecue foods, like, I love just, like, a hot dog covered in everything, like, everything. I love steak, I love shrimp, I love all that stuff on the skewers, but what I really love are all the side dishes, like, I don't have to have just, like, all the meats and stuff. Like, I want macaroni salad and potato salad. Like, I want it to be all in fact, I want it to be so carb related that I want macaroni salad, potato salad, and pasta salad. Because pasta salad and macaroni salad are not really the same. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't need a fork because I wanna eat all of them with Frito scoops. I want all of those things eat I don't like you know what I mean? Like, there's no sense in doing more dishes. And also too, like, it's my way of saying, like, I'm kind of vegetarian as a model. Like, it's kind of vegetarian-y to do that and, like, not eat meat. Like, I can just eat the sides, right? Like the chips and all that kinda stuff. Like, because I would like to say the meat in my family, it's interesting. In my family, um, we will have steak and we will have, like, chicken, and there's always the older ladies in my family that maybe are preparing this food will always say, "We have to have the steak for the men." Like, it's like the men, like, like, only men eat red meat or something. Like, there's sometimes that mentality, like, they'll talk to each other and be like, "So I says to her just like this, "Listen." "Listen." And they'll say it over and over. I said as if they're, like, building up to a story. I says to her, "We gotta go get the meat for the men." I says to her just like that. And so we had to go get the meat. And that's what they do, like, the old timers in my family. So I says. But at a family barbecue. I absolutely do love all of those things. I actually like to eat the meat like as when it's cooking and someone's like, "Try this out. Is it ready?" That's when I want to eat it. I don't want to eat it once it's already in the pan. You wouldn't think I would be that finicky of an eater like by looking at me, but I really am a bit finicky. Like, I'm not going to complain at somebody else's house, but if it's like my shit, it needs to be a certain way. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody invites me to their home, I'm going to eat their stuff and I'm not going to bitch about it. But I mean, if I have control over it, we're going to eat at a restaurant is what we're gonna do. That's it. And with that said, let's take a break. I want to tell you about my weekend. I was in Lake Arrowhead for Pride, which is, I've never been to Lake Arrowhead. There's a lot of places in Southern California I've never been, even though I'm Southern California born and raised. And I haven't been to those places because largely they are for people who like to get up off their ass and do things. And I don't like to get off my ass and do things. So, last year was my first time going to Malibu. I always think of Malibu like Malibu Barbie or a place where people want to be seen and drink wine on outside. I don't want to be outside. It's too hot. We've talked about this. I also don't like what is Runyon Canyon. I hear that all the time, and I think that's people like exercising and being complete and doing. I don't want to be complete. Um, I'm already too much. So it's like, why would I want to, do extra? Like, why would I want to do more work? So, whatever these canyons and hiking and all that stuff, that's just not for me. And I never thought that Lake Arrowhead was going to be for me until there was a check, which then in that case, the same reason why I went to Malibu. If you're going to run the bag, I'm going to show up. And that's what was happening. However, I would absolutely 100 zillion percent return to Lake Arrowhead. It was super, super fun. It was a very small Pride. And when I say small, I'm comparing that to like Long Beach Pride, LA Pride, San Francisco, a bigger established Pride. This was actually the first time there was ever any drag performances in their town. I don't know, square or whatever they want to call it. It was like a cool stage. It was great. It was beautiful. People were super, super exciting, or super excited. They were super generous. Um, but the cool part before all of this was the boat parade. So essentially, my friend Maddie has a boat, and he's the person who organizes this event with his partner. And we got to get on this boat. It was myself, Jules, who's been a guest on the Very That podcast, and our friend Jasmine Simone, who is an entertainer here in Southern California. The three of us were booked. We get in this boat. First of all, the drive up the mountain is like forever, but I wasn't driving. Jules was driving because I wasn't going to do that. I mean, that would be, I'll just buy her lunch. You know what I mean? That's what I figured. Like, I'll buy you lunch, you drive. It seems even, which I would offer gas money, but at this point, gas is so expensive. I felt like if I just cheated it by saying, oh, I'll get lunch, it wouldn't register in her mind, maybe that, like, wait, that's not equal because lunch at Del Taco's under $10. But splitting gas would have been like 40, whatever. It'll all work out. In any event, I get there, we get to the top of this mountain, we get in this boat. There's no like rails or anything, so I'm already thinking like I had to think first of all before I got there, like what do you wear on a boat? Because it's not like I'm, like in Capri or something on a boat. Like I would visualize what I would wear. But I was in the mountains, which also too I had to figure out what perfume do you wear in the mountains? Like I didn't want to wear anything too tropical, even though it's warm, like tropical. I always think of the tropics. So I didn't want to do that. So I wanted something that was like, what kind of flowers would grow there? So I looked it up, found it. I ended up with a floral fragrance that was like woodsy and resin, like in the base. So that's what I wore. And then I decided that because I was going to be on this boat, I had a really good caftan and turban because I didn't want my hair blowing everywhere. Um, and so I wore and it was floral in print, but it wasn't too tropical and it wasn't too deserty because I didn't want it to not fit in the pictures. Anyway, when all is said and done, we had a really, really great time. I would absolutely do this again. The boat was going everywhere, but it was so fun, and I learned a little bit about the homes there because so many people, so many famous rich people have homes in Lake Arrowhead. Like I don't know if it's their summer home or it's their uh, a rental, how that works. But there was like I saw a home that Gwen Stefani previously owned. Reagan's home, like I mean, literally Maddie, because Maddie's a real estate agent, was like pointing out this is who owns this, or who previously owned this. So it was really beautiful, and it made me think like, what would what would I want in a home like that? I mean, you know, we can dream. I mean, we're all scratching our way to the top at this point, and certainly owning one home feels like out of the question for a lot of us, but then having a summer home, but we can dream, we can think of the things that maybe we want to have, and maybe we'll win the lottery. Um, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll happen for some of us or all of us. But in this case, I mean, I have friends there now. I met people there and they're like, come stay in our home, which I'm probably not going to do because, whenever you stay in someone's home, like they invite you, it's like, aren't you nervous about like, what if I have to take a mad shit? Like what? Because I take mad shits, and so I wanna be sure that, like, no one is. I have a friend who used to stay in Orange County during Christmas time, and, she might come on this podcast sometime, but I don't mind spilling this story. She was staying with a couple that only had 1 bathroom in their home. She was doing seasonal work. 1 bathroom in their home, and that bathroom was through their bedroom, but at that night, they'd locked their bedroom door, and she really, really, really had to drop a deuce. And I'm not gonna say any names, but it wouldn't be hard for you to figure out who it is. It's not Raja. It's not anybody that's guested on here. She had to go take a shit in their kitchen sink and then turn on the garbage disposal because she didn't want anyone to know. Um, yeah, I've never done that, but I've peed in a bottle, I guess. I mean, that's not the same. It's not like where food is prepared. Like no one was gonna drink out of that bottle again. I mean, I don't think. But anyway, you have to think of these things. So when you go to Lake Arrowhead for Pride the next time, and you figure out what caftan you're wearing, what perfume you're wearing, however it's going to be, you have to figure out. in a space you've never been before, what is gonna work best for you? And that's I knew going into it, I had to have that plan, you know, because 'cause I'm crazy, and so I have to plan for everything. What if there's nothing to eat? What if there's nothing to drink? What if I have to take a mad shit? What if there's no garbage disposal? Like, all of those things factor in. I'm glad I knew what perfume because I did get compliments off of my perfume even though I was, on the water. Um, Always wear a caftan, I think, when you're in a boat because you really will feel like Eartha Kitt. I felt like Eartha Kitt, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't. Um, so yeah, always do that. I think it's really, really important. Also, this is just a side note. I've never been a server in a restaurant ever, ever, ever. Um, and I know it's difficult work, and I know it's a privilege to be able to eat in a restaurant and to make requests that always end up being demands when the person cannot meet the request, then they just turn it around and say, "Oh, you were demanding." Um, if someone comes into your restaurant or your space and they use the term table over booth, um, that means it's a request for a table with 4 legs. It's not for so, you know, if you just come in and you say, "Hi, it's for 3," then I think just seat the person wherever it's the easiest, right? But if I come in and I say, "Hi, I'd like to have a table for 3," and I can see that there's tables and booths, it's a request for a table. And let me tell you, it's purely out of comfort. You know, I'm clearly a person of size. There are other people of size that absolutely love to be crammed inside of a booth because they like the privacy over their comfort. I understand that they're having a private conversation. They don't want anyone involved in that conversation. I am not having those kinds of conversations at a public eating space. I'm there to eat. So I would like to not have to like shimmy myself in and out of a booth. Other people might, then they'll request a booth. So a booth, it's kind of like when someone says, can I have a Kleenex? And you don't really have a box of Kleenex. Those are facial tissues. So no one's really going to say, can I have a facial tissue? They're going to say, can I have a Kleenex? But I think in this case, if you see a person come in and they expressly ask for a type of seating situation that you have, stop showing them something else. Honestly. Honestly. And what goes on at Chili's that one person takes your order and then 500 other people bring everything that has to do with the order? I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm also trying to figure out how when you go to Chili's and you have unlimited soup and salad, why it takes 45 minutes just to get a second bowl of soup. What is taking so long? What's happening in that kitchen? Does a new ticket have to be written up? Do they still write up tickets? I don't know. I don't know what's happening there at Chili's, but you know, we'll figure it out. Let's take a break. It is the end of the summer, as it were, or at least the mid to the end of the summer. Um, no shade, no secret. It's fucking hot outside. Um, I appreciate you. I love you to the moon and back. Don't invite me over unless you have air conditioning, please, for the love of God. Um, I would love to I can send a dish if you really just wanted me to bring a dish. I have no problem with that. I can drop that off. But if we're sitting outside and there's not a canopy or a fan going, I can't stay. It's not for me. Um, Certainly, I would love to be inside. I mean, that's the goal. But if we have to be outside, could you have some of those like big outdoor fans going on? There's nothing more uncomfortable than that. And you know, that makes me think whenever I think about being outside, I think about you know, a barbecue, which is you know, the food is lovely. And I think about the idea of people having their pets. That's my number one favorite thing about going to someone's house is hanging out with their pets, usually more than hanging out with them. So if the pets are there, that's going to be a bonus for me. Um, but there's another thing that bothers me a bit whenever I go to someone's home, and that is lawn furniture, specifically those plastic white molded chairs that have like the arms in one position. Um, I thought about this before, and you know, those are made for what's considered to be like the average sized person, or anyone who is considered to be lighter in weight than the average person. So I would guess that the index of whatever says that the average if the average person is 5'10", they should averagely weigh around 165 pounds. I am 5'9", 5'10" on a good day, and I do not weigh 165 pounds. Um, And so those chairs are not friendly to me. So if I come to your barbecue, even though I said I wasn't going to go to your barbecue because there's no air, if I come there and you see me standing around one of those chairs and not being seated at that chair, just know that I'm not waiting for you to invite me to sit down on that chair. I'm consciously acknowledging that I'm not going to sit down in that chair because I want everyone to have a good time. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable as to what's going to happen when I do engulf the chair. So just be mindful that people of size are aware of the furniture that's around them and what may or may not look best to everyone around and what may cause them to be a little bit more uncomfortable. Um, you know, I don't mind sitting on a love seat maybe, or sitting in a chair that doesn't have arms. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant. We've talked about this before, and people want to give you a booth, but you asked for a table. Like there's a reason for much of this, and sometimes it has to do with people's personal comfort levels. So that's why if it's just too hot and there's those chairs with those, I'm aware of it. I have to put feelers out. I usually know what your house is going to look like, and I can sort of get an idea of what that's going to be the best part for me. That's going to be the best seat for me. I have a lot of people that I'll hear say like. I'll hear them on Instagram or TikTok, and they're dedicated to fitness. They're dedicated to really taking care of themselves, and your health is generally something that is going to keep you living here longer. Essentially, for many people, that's our focus is to focus on health and making sure that we're taking care of the physical body as well as the mind. But not all of us are on that same journey, and not all of us got there just yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But what happens is a lot of these people will say, "Oh, I've been so good. I'm having a cheat day, having a fat girl day because I don't know, maybe they ate a handful of chips or something." And for them, that suggests that it's fat girl time. But I'll tell you this, you haven't really had a fat girl day unless you've broken a white lawn chair in front of everybody at a barbecue. So if you think that having some chips is the fat girl day, you're really, really off because breaking the lawn chair at a barbecue is a fat girl day. Um, Not going swimming at the barbecue because you can't find an appropriate swimsuit that everyone's not going to point at, that's having a fat girl day. Um, Having a fat girl day is not going to a formal event because maybe you can't find a gown that fits for that formal event. That's a fat girl day. So, having some chips on a day when you normally wouldn't have chips, that's more like a privilege you get to have. Not saying you owe anyone else because they're overweight, just saying, you kind of have to lay out where you are. So if you're at a party and you see somebody not sitting in a chair, but they're just kind of enjoying themselves, don't make a scene and suggest that they sit down in the chair. They know what chair's there, they're aware of it. There's no need for you to do that. And if you don't have any air conditioning, for me personally, don't fucking invite me over. I love you so much. I'll invite you over to my place. I'll invite you out to dinner and I'll pick up the check. And if we're going out for dinner, we're going anywhere where there are tables and chairs that pull out and lots of parking and lots of air conditioning and lots of options. And with that said, I think it's time to go to break. And we come back, we have an extra special guest with an extra special interview. The beauty industry has changed a lot over the last few years, and some of my favorite beauty products just don't exist anymore. Like, I absolutely love, love, love lipstick. I cannot get enough lipstick. I could essentially put my eye makeup on one of two ways, and I essentially will kind of shape my eyebrows for a bigger eyelash, or I will just use my own eyebrow and then I'll use a smaller eyelash. So the same theory is usually always there. It's just a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. But lipstick is like kind of where I spend my money. Um, and what I mean by that is like I have a million different lipsticks. A lot of them are kind of the same color, but I still have to buy them because I love them so much. My like number one favorite lipstick that I love to wear is usually Chatterbox by MAC. I love it because it's like pinky and natural and a little orangey and fleshy. I love that. But back in the day, I used to love to wear a color called Icy Champagne Beige by La Femme. And if you know La Femme products, they are like a leader in the beauty industry for so many years. Um, I, in fact, still use this like refillable eyeshadow palette, and I just pop in the refill pans from La Femme. And the La Femme factory is not far from my home, so I'll just make a trip there like once a year, buy my shadows. But they used to sell um, all their. Maybe they still have the lipsticks. I don't know. I stopped using them when I started using a little bit better quality ones, and not that they were so much better in quality. It's just I kind of prefer lipsticks that don't have like a perfume or a taste to them, aside from MAC, which kind of has like a vanilla, which I do like. Um, but Icy Champagne Page, like in the 90s, I would wear it with this like espresso colored liner. And then it was iridescent champagne, like almost silver in a way. And that was very 90s to like line your lip with like a currant liner or an espresso or a chestnut and then sort of blend it all in together. My friend Jessica Rigosa, when we were in beauty school together, I remember she always wore Icy Champagne Beige with that liner and she was gorgeous. So for years I wore that. And I think about looking for it. Like I said, I think they might still sell it. Um I just don't buy it. But maybe I should have it make a return. It was really like thin brow, that kind of lip, kind of a Pamela Anderson in a way, sort of a Pamela Anderson look was really popular then. But there are other products that I miss so much. I don't know if anybody remembers Gap Scents, but Gap Scents were really popular in the 90s. Little tiny travel size tins or containers that looked like aluminum sprayers, I guess you would call them. And I used to wear a scent called Grass, and I miss that so much. They were also they had like Grass, Sky, maybe I think it was called Sky, Earth. I miss all of those. Those were so popular. And I think they still have them again, but they're not exactly the same the way that they were. Maybe just my tastes have changed. I don't think my tastes have changed because I like them all. I mean, I expect like here at my desk, I have like a Givenchy perfume, another Givenchy perfume, um, a Dior perfume. Oh no, this is Yves Saint Laurent. I mean, I like expensive perfume, but I also like body sprays. Like I like them all. It's like you get sort of I get a feeling they each sort of evoke a certain feeling. I definitely like wearing a huskier fragrance, as they would call it, something stronger and um, you know, I've often worn fragrances that are marketed towards quote unquote women, and people will say, "Oh, that just smells like Old Spice," because it's so spicy or it's so reminds them of like an old lady, I guess, and I like that. I am inspired by so many different women. Certainly the women that we've had on here on Very Delta, and many of them have different signature scents, and so it does inspire me, and it makes me feel good to have all those perfumes. Um, I am super excited about the Barbie movie. I haven't been excited about a movie like this for a while, just because it's just so childlike. I never collected Barbies. I never even had Barbies as a kid. As an adult now, I do have some dolls. I think the first doll I ever really was concerned about having was the RuPaul Barbie, and I do have a couple of RuPaul dolls still intact. Um, but also, like, I have X-Files dolls, so Gillian Anderson, David Duchovny dolls. Um, I never really collected so many dolls. I mean, maybe I have about 10. I bet they're boxed up. My drag daughter Ozma collects Barbies and knows all about Barbies. She loves them to death. She knows the names and the years and all of that. So maybe the two of us will have to go see this movie together. I'm super excited about it. I posted a meme that said, "I apologize for the person I'm going to be after seeing the Barbie movie because it's live action. So in that I am a little bit concerned because we have in our mind sort of the archetype of who's supposed to play Barbie or who's supposed to look like Barbie or Ken. Um, and I don't think that I particularly knew other than I always felt like the, quintessential blonde bombshell from my time was like Anna Nicole or Pamela Anderson or Dolly Parton. I don't know that those are necessarily perfect fits to play Barbie. Um, I was never really that interested in Ken. I never thought Ken was like cool or sexy. I did like No, Skipper was poor Skipper, she was ugly. And little Midge, mm, so sad. Nobody's Barbie. I hope the actress playing Barbie really lives up to it. But as I said, everyone has their own preference um, for a certain type of Barbie. I was thinking about as I think about Barbie, the scene that I saw was Barbie on the beach, and this time of year is when I really, really um, start to like switch it up a little bit. It's Pride season, so I travel a lot all throughout the summer, and I get a bit dehydrated, like if I'm drinking Diet Coke constantly. So the summertime is when I really decide I need to drink more iced tea. I'm gonna make sun tea. Wherever I go, I'm having iced tea. And in doing that, I always feel like that one little sip, like I'll sit down and I'll drink like unsweetened iced tea, and I'm like, gosh, I'm doing something so great for my body. I'm so into health right now, and for what reason? I don't know. But like the summertime reminds me of sun tea, and that's really what I'm drinking right now. It's like my favorite thing. And it makes me think when I go through a drive-through, why is there not a constant conversation with corporate to management to employee that fresh brewed iced tea is served out of a brewer that's hot? So when you scoop the ice up in the cup and then you put the iced tea on it, the fresh brewed unsweetened iced tea, it's going to melt the ice. So I think we need to have this discussion, and I think my company Deltaco, or some people call it Del Taco, but it's Deltaco. We need to start at the corporate level and then go down to management, down to the employee, and let them know we are no longer standing for a small amount of ice. We need the ice filled to the top because it's going to melt down to halfway. Because nobody wants to drink hot iced tea. I do want fresh brewed. Also, some of these places like to have those machines that are like 100 different drinks in one, and they offer oh, I don't even know what company. Fuse tea, like Fuse unsweetened. But then their menu also says we also have fresh brewed iced tea. So sometimes when I drive up, I'm like, hi, can I get a large fresh brewed iced tea with extra ice? And then they just give me like regular ice and Fuse tea. Why do you have what? Fresh brewed does not come out of a Coca-Cola machine. I don't know. I know I'm overthinking it, but I do stand by that. Yeah, I do stand by that. Not just in the summer, all year long. All year long. That's enough pontificating about iced tea. I think I've said enough. It's not going to get fixed. It is what it is. I'm going to drink it. I'm going to continue to buy it. I'm going to continue to complain. That's just the nature of it. I'm very excited because today we have an extra special guest right here at Very Delta. I'm so excited to welcome the beautiful Jasmine, a legend in entertainment. But for now, let's take a break. I think there's a few things that we need to cover and revisit, things that I've talked about on social media, in on other platforms, in other ways. I know it's Monday, so you're still picking up the pieces from your weekend, probably your Saturday or Sunday brunch, respectively. Um, but as I said, I think we need to revisit a few things that are super, super important. I started performing drag brunches maybe 20 years ago. I mean, I've been performing now well into 3 decades, but brunches started to become really, really popular in like the early 2000s. I feel like, for me anyway. We were doing the brunchettes in Long Beach at the time, myself, Psychedella, Jules, Tammy Brown. I mean, this is so far back that Tammy Brown was actually using index cards to make individual flyers and she would pass them out. Like, that's how far back. Um, but in the past 20 or so years, I feel like the face of brunch, drag brunch has changed. You can literally have a drag brunch anywhere, and there is a drag brunch anywhere, especially here in LA. I mean, you cannot throw, a vegan wrap without hitting one. I mean, there's just like literally a brunch everywhere, which is wonderful. It provides a lot of opportunity for drag entertainers to work. It provides a lot of outlet for people. But drag brunch is really sort of a safe zone for people who've never been to a drag show because they feel like it's during the day. It's a little more controlled for them. I think a lot of people that have never been to a drag brunch, specifically, the heterosexual community, they feel like it's a safe place because if they go to a drag show at night, the freaks come out at night, I think is their feeling. So during the day, it's a little safer. Plus, who is not going to be interested in unlimited mimosas? But when you come to these brunches, what has happened is we've obviously been infiltrated with people celebrating big things like big birthdays, big wedding, bridal parties, baby showers. All of it is happening. And that's great. We want you to celebrate. We want you to have a good time. These types of parties are what keep us really going. What happens is because drag brunch is such a playground for people who've never been to a drag show before, everything has to be sort of made very safe in a way. Like it needs to be approachable for everyone and has to be comfortable. So, sing-alongs are what you're probably going to hear, songs you've heard on the radio. It's not going to get too extremely complicated. Shock value is important sometimes just because you want to pull people in. And listen, for all intents and purposes, drag entertainers are doing brunch that early in the morning because, of course, they want to be tipped. And you're going to be tipped by people who are loving what you're doing. What happens, though, when you're a guest at a show like this, a brunch show, is it's very easy for people to say, I want to go, I want to have my bridal shower there, and I'm going to bring all my friends who've never been before. If you're doing that, it is your sole responsibility as our ally and as somebody who's supporting drag to let everyone in your party know exactly what's going to go down. Don't make them think that they're going to Dave and Buster's because that's not what's happening. Don't think that they're going to Disneyland because that's not what's happening. Certainly, it may be sort of like a Disney for drag queens in a way because it's safer and it's more approachable. But let these people know there is they need to keep their hands inside the ride at all times. They're going to hear songs they like. They're going to want to get up and dance and have a good time. No, don't. Let them know that's not what happens. This is a piece of live theater. Certainly not saying it's a Broadway show and certainly not comparing it to that. But in the same sense, there are people that you are paying to watch. And so we want them to have a really good time. You never know if people are going to dance and do a cartwheel or whatever it is that they're going to do. And just like, being anywhere in public, just because something is exciting doesn't mean that you can touch it or grope it or pull at it. Uh, people, a lot of people it's become really tactile when it comes to, getting a little more drunk and a little more free and having a good time. And I don't think they intend to do the most, but they end up doing the most because none of their friends are correcting them. Certainly not the person whose birthday it is, because now they're drunker than everybody, and they forgot to tell them, "Hey, we have to tip the performers." Well, you don't have to tip the performers, but it's par for the course. It's what happens. But more than anything, at least don't pull their wigs off. Like at least don't try to take the dollar and do that thing where you like hold it up and I call it the carrot and the horse. Like, no, do you want this dollar? Come get this dollar. Or waving it over the head of some unsuspecting heterosexual cis male who had no idea that they were coming to this, and then once they see it are obviously uncomfortable. Generally they're having a good time. They will have a good time, but you can always tell there's somebody that's a little bit uncomfortable. And in doing that, you're just going to make it worse. You're really going to make it worse, especially when you're doing that, or you're trying to tell them like, "Ooh, come on, get in their crotch," or that kind of thing. Like it becomes a scary place for them where they're not going to be like acclimated to it. They're not going to become comfortable with it. They're going to immediately think, this is always going to be this way. I'm always going to be put on the spot. I'm always going to be made to be uncomfortable in this situation. Some people just don't like that. Listen, when it's my birthday and we go, I don't know, to Cheesecake Factory, I don't particularly want everybody to come up and sing happy birthday to me. I appreciate it. I'll absolutely take that free piece of cake, but I don't want a scene to be made simply because I just want to have a good time. Some people are that way. They don't want to do that. So just because you come to the brunch and you think it's funny, speaks to a couple of different things. First of all, that you are fine making someone else feel extremely uncomfortable as long as you get to laugh. And then on top of that, that you absolutely think that the drag queens are there as a complete and total utter joke. And it couldn't possibly be seen as something that needs to be respected. It's something that you own. The drag queens are there as a complete, that you are fine making someone else feel extremely uncomfortable as long as you get to laugh. And then on top of that, that you absolutely think that the drag queens are there as a complete and total utter joke. And it couldn't possibly possibly be seen as something that needs to be respected. It's something that you own and that you need to objectify, sexualize, or completely and totally run off the rails as a total utter joke. This is not to say don't come. This is to say when you come, just have the bare minimum of respect and let people, because some people too don't even know that tipping is a thing until they see it and they're like, oh, I want to do that too. I want the drag queens to come over and or drag kings to come over and dance around and have a good time with us and take a couple of pictures. That's amazing. Speaking of pictures, if there's not a step and repeat and there's not an intention to take pictures and you come to the brunch, if a queen or a king or any entertainer offers to take a picture with you, that is great. But when you get up and start pulling them over to your table while they're performing and tell them, come on, stop, we're doing pictures, it's my birthday, it says to everyone in the room that you are the only person that's there to be entertained. They are not to be entertained. And when they see the drag queen or drag entertainer stop, it says to them, now it's our turn. You're not here to perform. You're not here to get tipped. You're only here to walk around and take pictures, which is not the case. We love pictures. We want to take the pictures. But unfortunately, we have to be performing the show for everyone to enjoy. It's not just, it doesn't come with bottle service that the drag queen just stops and hangs out at your table. We will love to do that, but there's 3 seatings sometimes in one day. At some locations, 4 seatings. You're just not going to get the personal service for the entire duration of a number, much less the whole show. Because what happens is, as soon as the show's over, you have to clear out, linens have to be changed, floors have to be mopped, food has to be reset for the next group of people. So what happens is, because you may want all of that extra personal service, it delays not only everyone at your seating experiencing the show, it delays it for every other seating. So it becomes kind of fucked up. I mean, this sounds a little heavy, but these principles are basically just purely not being an asshole, like not being a dick. If you are able to like walk out of your house and go, oh, other people exist in the world. Oh, I'm going to be in a restaurant with 250 other people. Oh, they want to watch the show too? Okay. Well, I would like to tip. Maybe I should get some ones. Maybe I should tell everyone in my party. Like you have to remind everyone in your group that so they're all on the same page as to what's happening. Certainly, at the minimum, let them know, not to pull on people, not to throw up on people. Uh, don't think it's funny to hand someone a receipt instead of a dollar as a tip. Certainly don't have the drag queen lean down for a picture and try to shove a potato wedge in her mouth. Like, I know you think that's hilarious because, like, degrading people is hilarious, but it's not. We look forward to seeing you at brunch as long as you behave yourselves. And most people do. It's not everyone, but these stories come out quite often and I experience them. And I just want to share with you because I know that's not your intention to behave that way. But someone has to correct you. And that's why I'm here. That's why it's very Delta. I know your brunch behavior will never be the same. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to welcome my friend who's giving more than brunch. He's the whole damn meal. When we come back, we're going to be chatting with my friend Sharak.